Masked FC. Let's be honest. Most people lose football bets for one simple reason. They ask the game to do too much. They want crazy scorelines. They want every favorite to cruise. They want every striker to show up on command, and then one boring match finishes 1-0, and the whole ticket gets folded like cheap paper. So today, we're not doing fantasy football. We're doing smart football. Low lines, safer angles, better breathing room, not because it looks sexy on a screenshot, but because this is the kind of stuff that actually gives you a chance to stay alive deep into the weekend. Quick note before we start. This is not a promise. This is not free money. This is football. Bet small, stay sharp, and never chase. All right. 6 slips, clean logic, no waffle. Slip number 1, Magdeburg against Bochum, over 1.5 goals. Dynamo Dresden against Hertha Berlin, over 1.5 goals. This is one of my favorite ways to open a weekend. Not with some heroic prediction, not with a correct score, just a simple question. Can these 2 games produce 2 goals each? That's it. And in this kind of league, that line is usually alive for a long time because second divisions are messy in the best possible way. 1 defensive mistake, 1 rebound, 1 set piece, 1 early goal that forces the other side to stop being polite. That's the beauty of over 1.5. You don't need the match to become legendary. You just need it to wake up. Magdeburg and Bochum feels like one of those games where the tempo can flip fast. And Dynamo against Hertha has pressure written all over it. Big crowd, big expectation. The kind of match where 1 goal doesn't kill the game. It usually opens it. Now the danger here is obvious. You can get one of those stubborn afternoons where the chances are there, but the finishing is absolutely criminal. That happens. But as a double built on 2-goal floors, this is a very honest start. Slip number 2, Mallorca against Real Madrid. Over 1.5 goals. This is the type of single I actually like because it doesn't ask you to be a genius. You're not trying to call a winner. You're not trying to predict who scores first. You're not even asking for both teams to score. You're just saying this game should not end with 1 lonely goal. And when you've got a side like Real involved, that's a very fair ask. Because stronger teams can do most of the heavy lifting by themselves. 1 early Madrid goal changes the whole match. Mallorca can't just sit there forever. The shape stretches, the counters get bigger, the second goal becomes live from either side. That's what I want from a line like this. A bet that gets stronger once the game starts breathing. What kills it? A slow, controlled, sleepy performance. 1-0 on 30 minutes, then the favorite decides to turn the rest of the match into a passing drill. That's the sweat. But pre-match, over 1.5 here is clean, simple, and very playable. Slip number 3, Atletico Madrid against Barcelona, over 1.5 goals. Southampton against Arsenal, Arsenal to qualify. This one is built with 2 different types of logic. The first leg is about emotion. The second leg is about protection. Atletico against Barca is not a casual game. Those fixtures always feel 1 moment away from chaos, a penalty, a mistake playing out, a set piece, a red card, a deflection that changes everything. And because the total is only over 1.5, you don't need fireworks. 1-1, 2-0, any of those cash it. That's why I like the line. It gives you access to a massive fixture without demanding a miracle. Then we move to Arsenal to qualify. And that is important. Not Arsenal to win in 90, not Arsenal first half, not Arsenal -1. To qualify. That means you're backing the stronger side to get through the tie, even if it gets ugly, even if it drags, even if it needs extra time. That's smart cup betting. Because cup matches can be weird. The underdog raises the intensity. The favorite rotates a bit too much. Suddenly it's level late, and everybody who took the 90-minute line is panicking. But if your ticket says qualify, you're still breathing. The risk here is rotation. That's the real one. If Arsenal get too cute with the lineup or Southampton turn it into the match of their season, this leg becomes a dogfight. Still, as a double, this is a solid blend of goals and survival. Slip number 4, Freiburg against Bayern Munich, over 1.5 goals. Werder Bremen against RB Leipzig, over 1.5 goals. This is the German transition slip. Fast games, open spaces, teams that don't need 10 perfect chances to make something happen. Freiburg and Bayern is one of those spots where 2 goals feels like a low bar. Bayern do not exist to participate quietly. and Freiburg at home usually give enough resistance to keep the match alive instead of dead. Then Werder against Leipzig. Leipzig are one of those teams that can hit you in waves, quiet for 10 minutes, then suddenly 3 big attacks in 5. Werder can contribute too, especially if the match state forces them forward. That's why these low goal lines work. They don't need the game to be flawless. They just need activity. 1 goal before halftime and the whole texture changes. 1 goal after halftime and the other side starts gambling. That's where overs feed. The danger, you get all the right signs, all the territory, all the shots, and somehow it's still 0-0 on 68. That is the evil side of football betting. But structurally, this is still one of the cleaner doubles on the board. Slip number 5, Stuttgart against Dortmund, Asian over 2.0 goals, Hoffenheim against Mainz, home or draw. Now this is where we stop betting like tourists, because Asian over 2.0 is a smart line, not reckless. Here's why. If the game gives you 3 or more goals, you win. If it lands on exactly 2, you don't lose the stake. You get the refund. That little cushion matters, because it means you can attack a high-energy matchup without paying the full emotional price of needing over 2.5. And Stuttgart against Dortmund is exactly the type of fixture where that protection makes sense. These are teams that can create a proper match. Momentum swings, fast attacks, defenders dragged into open grass, a game that can break loose quickly. Then on the second leg, we go conservative. Hoffenheim home or draw, not home win. Not forcing them to dominate. Just don't lose. That's the type of market I love in an Accas, because it respects the reality of football. Sometimes the better angle is not, can they win? Sometimes the better angle is, can they avoid doing something stupid for 90 minutes? A draw still pays you. That's valuable. The danger here is simple. Mainz score first, drop deep, make the whole stadium nervous, and suddenly Hoffenheim are chasing a locked door. That's the sweat. But with the Asian line in one match and the double chance cushion in the other, this is probably the smartest slip of the whole set. Slip number 6. Arminia Bielefeld against Darmstadt, over 1.5 goals. This is the late single that a lot of people overlook because it doesn't have the glamorous names, and sometimes that's exactly where the value lives. No superstar narrative, no brand name bias, just a match where 2 goals is a very realistic outcome. This kind of fixture can turn fast. One team scores, the other has to answer, or the favorite gets impatient, or the underdog gets brave, or the game stays flat for 40 minutes, then suddenly becomes open because one side blinks. That's why I like finishing the card with a single like this. It doesn't need to be dramatic, it just needs a pulse. And in games like this, a pulse is usually enough. Of course, there's always the ugly script. Too cautious, too many fouls, too much sideways passing, no one willing to take the first real risk. That's the nightmare. But again, we're dealing with over 1.5. Not a hat trick request, not a 5-goal circus, just 2.